Ever felt an unexplainable shift when he's near? That haunting suspicion his silence speaks louder than words. Yet you can't decipher the code? You're not crazy. You're sensing the invisible earthquake Carl Jung discovered. When a man is truly consumed by love, his unconscious betrays him through devastatingly subtle tremors, not through cheap flowers or empty promises, but through hidden psychological blueprints screaming his devotion. That confusion you feel? That's your spirit recognizing a truth his lips refuse to speak. Real love isn't shouted. It's unearthed from the darkest depths of the masculine soul. And today, we rip open these secrets. By the end of this revelation, you'll wield Jung's power to see the unconscious signals, screaming his authentic love. No more guessing, no more doubt. Raw patterns from analytical psychology will expose his behavior with blinding clarity few possess. Discover how an enamored man's hunt for his sacred feminine ideal, his anima, forces his entire being to transform. Witness how his psyche compels him to seek wholeness in you, radiating through every stolen glance, even when he believes no one sees. This is your map to the unspoken. But first, if these depths resonate with you, do this right now. Subscribe to this channel. Seriously. Too many are watching these life-changing insights without subscribing, missing the transformations we unleash weekly. Smash that like button if this truth hits home. It fuels our mission. Comment Jung below if you're ready to decode his soul. Don't gamble with confusion. Subscribe, because what comes next will change how you see love forever. A psychological projection that remains dormant until they find it in the real world. This internal archetype activates like an ancestral spring when a man's eyes meet someone who embodies that pattern. Modern science has confirmed what Jung intuited. The brain releases a specific cocktail of neurotransmitters when it recognizes that feminine ideal. Dopamine surges abundantly, serotonin skyrockets, oxytocin floods the system. It's not just chemistry, it's a neuronal revolution that transforms perception. The physical changes are unmistakable. His pupils dilate involuntarily. His breathing alters in measurable patterns. His facial micro-expressions reveal an intensity he can't hide. Brain imaging studies show massive activation in areas related to reward and emotional integration. This altered state generates behaviors that might seem irrational to outsiders. Following you with his gaze when he thinks you don't see, adjusting his posture to appear more confident, subtly modifying his tone of voice when speaking to you. These are responses programmed deep within his psychological DNA. The response is so profound, it even affects his cognitive patterns. His concentration capacity shifts. His selective memory sharpens to recall every detail about you. His priorities reorganize without him being fully aware. It's as if a dormant part of his psyche awakens and takes control of his subtlest decisions. The most fascinating thing is that this archetype activation isn't voluntary or controllable. The man might try to rationalize it, minimize it, or even deny it. But the changes in his behavior are as evident as his heartbeat. His body and mind have recognized something his ego isn't ready to accept. You've activated in him the search for his own totality. Jung said the unconscious expresses itself through the body. If he leans his torso toward you, unconsciously repeats your gestures, or his voice softens in your presence, his mind is saying what his mouth doesn't dare. The human body is an open book, narrating stories deeper than words. Research in nonverbal communication shows that 93% of our emotional communication happens through nonverbal bodily and tonal signals. When a man is truly in love, his body becomes a transparent conduit of his deepest emotions. Leaning the torso forward is an ancestral signal of openness and vulnerability. In evolutionary terms, exposing the torso means lowering defenses, showing trust. If you notice he constantly reduces physical distance by leaning toward you, even in large spaces, his subconscious is declaring, "I trust you with my safety." The phenomenon of unconscious mirroring is another powerful manifestation. When someone is deeply emotionally connected, their mirror neurons enter a hyperactive state, leading them to replicate your gestures unknowingly. If you raise your glass, he raises his. If you cross your legs, he adjusts his in response. It's a silent dance of synchronization, speaking of a deep neuronal connection. Vocal modulation is perhaps the most revealing. Studies show the male voice tends to deepen and soften when speaking to someone they're deeply attracted to. It's an evolutionary mechanism designed to convey security and trust. If his voice changes notably when talking to you, shifting from his usual tone to something more intimate and warm, his unconscious is creating a private acoustic space just for you two. Microgestures are even more telling. The slight tremor in his hands when handing you something. The way his feet constantly point toward you even when conversing with others. The imperceptible change in his breathing when he says your name. These are signals that escape conscious control and reveal inner turmoil. Pupil dilation controlled by the autonomic nervous system is particularly interesting. When a man looks at you and is genuinely interested, his pupils expand up to 45% beyond their normal size. It's a biological response no will can control, a pure indicator of psychological interest and arousal. These bodily signs function as a primitive, honest language. While he may measure his words and control his facial expressions, his body is screaming his emotional truth. It's a constant dialogue between the conscious trying to maintain control and the unconscious refusing to be silenced. For Jung, dreams were windows to the unconscious. If he shares his dreams with you, especially those where you appear, he's revealing a connection transcending rationality. It's an unfiltered confession. Dreams are the only space where the ego loses absolute control. Jung considered them psychic compensations, messages from the unconscious seeking to balance our conscious life. When a man dreams of you, his psyche is processing emotions he may not express while awake. The very act of sharing a dream is deeply intimate. In the dream universe, social censorship disappears and naked truths emerge. If he tells you he dreamed of you, he's not just sharing an anecdote, he's opening the door to his most protected inner world, where symbols and metaphors speak of his deepest desires. Modern neuroscience confirms that during REM sleep, the amygdala, emotional center, is highly active, while the prefrontal cortex, control center, is inhibited. This means dreams express pure emotions without rationality's filter. If you appear recurrently in his dreams, his brain is constantly processing your presence as significant. The details of these dreams reveal even more. You appear as a protector, adventure companion, mysterious guiding figure. Every role you occupy in his dream world reflects how his unconscious perceives you. Jung called this psychic compensation. The dream reveals what conscious life cannot express. When a man shares dreams where you appear, especially recurrent ones, he's performing an act of extreme vulnerability. It's as if he's saying, "Look what my mind does with you when I have no control." It's a confession more honest than any carefully crafted declaration. A deeply enamored man will project his shadow, his hidden parts, onto you. He'll seem contradictory, showing vulnerability, yet protectiveness, because in his psyche, you're now part of his heroic journey. The Jungian shadow represents everything the individual doesn't acknowledge or accept about themselves. When a man falls deeply in love, he experiences a unique psychological phenomenon. He begins projecting both his light and dark aspects onto the loved person, turning the relationship into a mirror of his own transformation. This projection manifests in seemingly contradictory behaviors. On one hand, he shows unusual vulnerability, sharing unconfessed fears, exposing insecurities he normally hides. It's as if your presence gives him permission to confront parts of himself he'd kept in darkness. This vulnerability signals deep trust, not weakness. Simultaneously, he activates his protective instinct with surprising intensity. It's not mere possessiveness, but a manifestation of the hero archetype. In Jungian terms, you've become the treasure of his mythic journey, the valuable element he must safeguard. This protection goes beyond the physical. He tries to shield you emotionally, anticipate your needs, create safe space for your growth. The projection dynamic generates creative tension. He sees in you qualities he admires but hasn't fully developed in himself. He may admire your strength while struggling with his vulnerability, or revere your sensitivity while confronting his emotional hardness. These projections are mirrors guiding him toward his own integration. The process is reciprocal. As he projects his shadow onto you, he also begins integrating aspects of his personality he once rejected. If he's truly committed to the relationship, this process leads him to profound personal growth. You become the catalyst for his individuation, the Jungian process of becoming who he truly is. The key to recognizing this projection is observing moments where his emotions seem disproportionate. If he reacts with unusual intensity to your successes or failures, if your moods deeply affect him, if he feels a compulsive need to protect you even from yourself, you're witnessing the archetypal drama of hero and shadow playing out in real time. When a man includes you in his personal heroic journey, you're not just participating in a relationship. You're witnessing and partaking in his psychological transformation. Your presence forces him to confront inner demons, integrate contradictions, and evolve toward a more complete version of himself. It's not just listening to you, it's remembering details even you didn't register. Jung called it active attention, a sign your existence is engraved in his unconscious memory as an unignorable symbol. Active attention is a state of heightened awareness where the brain processes information at extraordinary levels. When a man is genuinely in love, his cognitive processing system enters a state of selective hypervigilance. He doesn't just hear your words, he registers tone, rhythm, pauses, the subtlest gestures. This form of attention transcends basic social courtesy. It's total immersion in your personal universe. He'll remember the name of the cafe you mentioned in passing, the song playing when you told an anecdote, the exact color of the dress you wore on an ordinary day. His hippocampus is working overtime, recording every detail about you as if it were vital survival information. Neuroscientists have observed that when we're in love, our brain activates the same areas that light up during intense learning. It's as if every interaction with you is a lesson to memorize for a crucial exam. This hyperfocus creates a mental library dedicated exclusively to you. The amplified selective memory phenomenon is fascinating. While he may forget important appointments or pending tasks, he'll remember with microscopic precision details from your conversations, even ones you don't recall mentioning. It's a sign his unconscious has prioritized everything related to you as critical information. Active attention also manifests in how he processes your emotions. He'll notice subtle mood shifts before you recognize them. This heightened sensitivity results from his limbic system constantly monitoring your emotional signals, seeking ways to sync with you. When a man remembers seemingly insignificant details of your life, he's revealing you've occupied a privileged space in his mental architecture. It's as if you've unlocked a part of his brain dedicated solely to studying, understanding, and anticipating your needs. It's not obsession. It's an evolutionary form of creating deep intimacy. If he argues with you but always returns more intensely, it signals his unconscious sees you as his necessary opposite. For Jung, true love is born from tension between complementary opposites. Jungian theory of opposites states that psychological integration requires reconciling opposing forces. When a man finds his complementary opposite in you, he's not seeking a replica of himself, but someone who completes his fragmented psyche. Arguments aren't relationship failures. They're the crucible where deeper connection is forged. This dynamic of opposites creates creative tension driving mutual growth. If he's reflective and you're spontaneous, if he's practical and you're idealistic, these differences aren't obstacles, but magnetic forces maintaining vital attraction. Jung believed true love wasn't the union of identical beings, but the dance between polarities that need each other. The separation-reconciliation cycle you experience isn't a sign of dysfunction, but emotional alchemy. Each conflict followed by deeper reunion is a stage in integrating opposites. It's as if every argument polishes the relationship's edges, revealing a more authentic connection. The intensity with which he returns after each disagreement reveals the depth of the unconscious bond. His psyche recognizes you as his positive shadow, the element balancing his deficiencies. He can't simply walk away because doing so would mean renouncing an essential part of his individuation process. The pattern of argument-reconciliation deepening follows Jung's principle of enantiodromia, the tendency of things to become their opposite at their peak. Conflict's tension transforms into deeper intimacy, as if disagreement were the catalyst for more comprehensive understanding. Couples who don't experience this tension of opposites may remain in superficial comfort, but rarely reach the transformative depth of true love. When a man seeks you after conflict, he's not acting from emotional dependence, but unconscious recognition that you're integral to his journey towards psychic wholeness. This dance of opposites is the real work of mature love, not eliminating conflict, but transforming it into fuel for mutual growth. If he keeps returning more committed and conscious each time, you're witnessing the birth of a connection transcending mere compatibility to become an alchemical fusion of complementary souls. We're not talking about rings or promises. Jung observed that when a man is in love, he incorporates symbols of you into his life. A song, an object, a habit. His psyche is weaving an invisible, eternal bond. Symbols are the unconscious's primordial language. When a man falls deeply in love, his psyche begins weaving a web of meanings connecting him to you beyond physical presence. These symbols go beyond material objects. They're tangible manifestations of a connection rooted in his deepest being. It might be a song you heard together that he now plays obsessively, each note becoming a temporal portal transporting him to your presence. Or perhaps he adopts your habit, how you drink coffee, a particular hand gesture, a phrase you use frequently. These unconscious adoptions signal you've penetrated so deeply into his psyche you're now part of his identity. Jung understood symbols have transformative power. They're not mere memories, but active containers of psychic energy. When he keeps a seemingly insignificant object, a movie ticket, napkin, dried flower, he's creating a personal talisman, anchoring your presence in his daily reality. Incorporating these symbols reveals deep psychological integration. His unconscious is blending elements of your essence with his internal structure, as if creating an invisible altar dedicated to your connection, where each symbol acts as a tangible reminder that your influence transcends time and space. This unconscious ritualization is powerful because it operates beyond rational control. He may not understand why a certain melody moves him to tears or why he feels compelled to keep an object near, but his psyche knows exactly what it's doing, building symbolic bridges, keeping the connection alive. Shared symbols become a secret language between you, a specific scent, a keyword, a particular place. Each element gains meaning only you two understand, creating a private universe where intimacy flourishes beyond words. So now you hold the key. When his soul weaves your symbols into his world, that song he can't stop playing, that phrase he stole from your lips, that ticket stub he guards like sacred text, recognize it. This is no accident. It's his unconscious screaming a commitment deeper than vows, his very essence fusing with yours, forging an unbreakable psychic bond engraved in the bedrock of his being. This isn't social obligation. It's raw, organic truth erupting from the depths where Carl Jung said real love lives. Those signs, they're not coincidences. They're luminous footprints guiding you to love's purest form, the kind that doesn't speak, it lives. And now, you wield the power to see what even he doesn't know he's revealing. You've just unlocked a seismic truth, but this is only the beginning. If this revelation struck your core, prove it. Smash that like button right now. Let YouTube's algorithm ignite this truth for others seeking answers. Comment "unseen" below. I'll personally decode your most burning question in upcoming videos. And if you're watching this without subscribing, you're gambling with your own awakening. Thousands are missing our next breakthroughs because they didn't hit subscribe. Don't be one of them. Tap that button now, because next week we tear open Jung's most explosive secret, how to trigger these unconscious signals in any man. This is your journey into the shadows. Subscribe, because the deepest revelations are coming, and you deserve to be first to know.